everyone. Welcome back to the Easy English Podcast. I'm Hannah, and as always, I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Alex. How are you today, Alex?
Hi, Hannah. I am doing great, thank you. And a big, warm welcome to all of our listeners around the world. I'm really excited about today's episode.
Me too, Alex. Today we have a very special, beginner-friendly story. It is a slow and simple story about two best friends, Sarah and Emma. Sarah borrows Emma's brand new, very expensive digital camera. But then something terrible happens. She loses it.
Oh no! That is my worst nightmare. Borrowing something expensive from a friend and then losing it or breaking it, it makes your stomach drop, doesn't it?
Exactly. That is a great phrase, Alex. Your stomach drops. It means you suddenly feel very anxious, worried, or shocked. We will learn a lot of great, polite, and remorseful English words today. Remorseful means feeling very sorry for something bad you did. We will see how Sarah confesses her mistake to Emma.
That is so useful because, let's face it, we all make mistakes. Knowing how to say sorry politely and sincerely in English is a super important skill. So, Hannah, should we start the story?
Yes, let's begin. Listen closely, everyone. We will speak slowly and clearly. Our story starts on a beautiful, sunny Saturday morning. Sarah and Emma are sitting in a cozy little coffee shop, drinking warm lattes. Emma is glowing with excitement because she just bought a beautiful professional camera. It cost her a lot of money, and she loves it more than anything.
Ah, yes. And Sarah has a big weekend trip planned, right? She is going to the mountains for a hiking trip. She wants to take beautiful photos of the trees and the sunset. So she looks at Emma's camera with shiny eyes and says, "Oh, Emma, your camera is absolutely beautiful. Could I please borrow it for my trip this weekend? I promise I will take perfect care of it."
Emma hesitates for a second. This camera is her favorite possession. A possession is something that you own. But because Sarah is her absolute best friend, she smiles and says, "Of course, Sarah. Just please, please be very careful. It is extremely expensive, and I would be heartbroken if anything happened to it." Sarah hugs her and says, "I promise, Emma, I will treat it like a baby."
I will treat it like a baby. That is a funny and common expression. It means you will take extreme care of something, being very gentle and watchful. But as we know, promises are sometimes hard to keep.
They really are. So Sarah goes on her hiking trip. The mountains are stunning. The air is fresh, and the leaves are bright orange and yellow. Sarah takes amazing pictures with Emma's camera. She feels so happy. She walks along a narrow trail next to a rushing river. She decides to sit down on a large flat rock to eat her lunch, which is a delicious turkey sandwich.
She takes off her backpack. She places Emma's beautiful camera right next to her on the smooth rock. She is enjoying her sandwich, watching the birds fly above the water. 10 minutes later, she finishes eating. She packs up her sandwich wrapper, puts on her backpack, and starts walking back down the trail toward her car. She feels relaxed and peaceful.
But then, about 20 minutes into her walk, Sarah wants to take a picture of a cute little squirrel. She reaches for her neck, where the camera strap usually hangs. Nothing is there. Her chest tightens. She quickly opens her backpack and looks inside. She moves her water bottle, her jacket, her keys. Nothing. The camera is not there.
Oh my goodness, this is the moment, the realization. She suddenly remembers she left the camera sitting on the wet, slippery rock by the river. Her heart begins to beat incredibly fast. She turns around and runs back up the trail as fast as her legs can carry her. She is sweating, panting, and praying that the camera is still there.
She finally reaches the large rock by the river. She looks down, but the rock is completely empty. The camera is gone. Perhaps it slipped into the rushing river, or perhaps another hiker walked by and picked it up. Either way, it is completely, 100% gone. Sarah sits down on the dirt trail and buries her face in her hands.
She feels physically sick with worry.
Whoa, I can actually feel her panic. That is a terrible, terrible feeling. Imagine having to tell your best friend that you lost their favorite, most expensive item. What does Sarah do next, Hannah?
Well, Sarah just sits there on the dusty trail for what feels like hours. Her mind is racing with all kinds of scary thoughts. She thinks to herself, should I just buy a new one right now online and pretend nothing happened? But then she remembers that Emma's camera had a very special, limited edition blue strap that is impossible to find now. Plus, Emma has all her old vacation photos on that memory card. There is no easy way out of this.
Exactly. And that brings us to a really important vocabulary word for situations like this. Guilt. G-U-I-L-T. Guilt is that heavy, painful feeling in your stomach when you know you did something wrong or made a big mistake. Sarah is feeling an immense amount of guilt right now.
She really is. Her stomach feels like it is tied in knots. For our listeners, to have knots in your stomach is a great idiom. It means to feel extremely nervous or anxious. Have you ever felt that way, Alex?
Oh, absolutely. Every time I have to deliver bad news, my stomach feels like it is full of tight knots. It is a very physical reaction to stress. So, how does Sarah handle this heavy feeling? Does she go straight to Emma's house?
Not right away. First, she goes back to her car and drives home in complete silence. She doesn't even turn on the radio. When she gets home, she paces up and down her living room. To pace means to walk back and forth in a small area because you are nervous or worried. She keeps looking at her phone, holding it in her hand, starting to type a text message, and then deleting it.
That is so relatable. Writing a text message is sometimes easier, but for something this big, a text message is probably not the best way to handle it, right?
You are so right, Alex. In English culture, and indeed in many cultures, if you lose something very valuable that belongs to a friend, it is much more polite and respectful to tell them, either over a phone call or even better, in person. It shows that you respect the friendship and take full responsibility.
To take responsibility is another excellent phrase. It means to accept that you did something wrong and that you are the one who needs to fix it. You're not making excuses or pointing fingers at anyone else.
Yes. So, Sarah decides to do the right thing. She takes a deep, slow breath, closes her eyes, and dials Emma's phone number. Her heart is pounding in her chest. She can hear the phone ringing. Ring, ring. And then Emma answers with a bright, cheerful voice.
That makes it even harder. When the other person is so happy and you are about to drop a bomb on them. What does Emma say?
Emma says, "Hey, Sarah, how was the hike? Did you get some beautiful photos with the camera? I can't wait to see them." Sarah's throat feels completely dry. She swallows hard and says, "Hi, Emma. The hike was beautiful, but I need to tell you something, and I am so sorry."
This is a great starting phrase for a confession. I need to tell you something. It prepares the listener that some serious or bad news is coming. It gives them a second to brace themselves.
Yes, it does. And notice how Sarah immediately says, "I am so sorry." Even before explaining, this shows genuine remorse. Remorse is a deep regret for doing something wrong. Sarah's voice is actually shaking a little bit.
How does Emma react when she hears Sarah's voice shaking?
Emma immediately stops laughing. Her tone becomes worried. She asks, "Sarah, are you okay? Did you get hurt on the trail?" Because Emma is a good friend, her first thought is actually about Sarah's safety, which makes Sarah feel even more guilty.
Oh, the guilt just keeps growing. Sarah must feel terrible. So how does she actually deliver the bad news?
She says, "No, I am physically fine, Emma, that I have some terrible news. While I was eating lunch, I set your camera down on a rock. When I walked away, I forgot to pick it up. By the time I realized it and ran back, the camera was completely gone. I think it fell into the river or someone took it. I am absolutely devastated, and I am so incredibly sorry. I feel awful."
Wow, she was very direct and honest. She didn't make up a story about a wild animal stealing it or someone grabbing it from her backpack. She admitted her own carelessness. That takes a lot of courage.
It really does. Let's look at the word devastated. D-E-V-A-S-T-A-T-E-D. To be devastated means to be extremely shocked and sad. Sarah is devastated because she knows how much that camera meant to Emma.
And how does Emma react to this confession? Is she angry?
There is a long, heavy silence on the phone. For a few seconds, nobody says anything. Sarah is holding her breath, waiting for Emma to scream or cry. Finally, Emma sighs deeply. Her voice sounds very quiet and sad. She says, "Oh, Sarah, that camera was very special to me. My grandmother bought it for me when I graduated from college."
Oh no, that makes it even worse. It wasn't just an expensive camera, it had sentimental value. Listeners, sentimental value means that an object is important to you, not because of how much money it cost, but because of the personal memories or feelings connected to it.
Exactly. Sentimental value is something money cannot easily replace. Emma continues, "I am very disappointed and upset, Sarah, but I am also glad that you are safe and that you told me the truth right away."
That is a very mature reaction from Emma. She is honest about her feelings. She says she's disappointed and upset, but she doesn't yell. This is a great example of how to handle bad news with grace.
Yes, and because Emma is being so reasonable, Sarah wants to do everything she can to make things right. Sarah says, "Emma, I know I can never truly replace the memories of that camera, but I want to buy you a brand new one. I will look for the exact same model online tonight. I will pay for it completely."
That is the perfect way to take responsibility. Let's look at the phrase, make things right. To make things right means to correct a mistake or to improve a bad situation that you caused. If you break your friend's window, you make things right by paying for a new one.
Right, or if you forget a friend's birthday, you might make things right by taking them out for a nice dinner the next day. It is all about restoring the balance in the relationship.
So, how does Emma respond to Sarah's offer to buy a new camera? Does she accept it?
She does, but in a very polite way. Emma says, "Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that. You don't have to buy the most expensive new model, but if we can find the same one, that would make me feel much better. Let's look for it together."
That is a wonderful resolution. Notice how Emma says, "I appreciate that." This is a very common and polite way to say thank you for an offer or a kind gesture. It shows you recognize the other person's effort.
Let's practice that phrase, Alex. If I say, "Alex, I can help you wash your car this weekend because you helped me move last week," how would you reply?
I would say, "Oh, thank you, Hannah. I really appreciate that." It sounds warm and genuine. Much warmer than just saying, "Okay."
Exactly. So Sarah and Emma agree to meet up the next day to look at cameras online. Even though Sarah feels a big weight lifted off her shoulders, she still feels a bit nervous about seeing Emma in person. Have you ever felt that way, Alex? Even after someone forgives you, you still feel a little awkward?
Oh, absolutely. The awkwardness doesn't just disappear instantly. You wonder if they are still secretly mad at you, or if the friendship will ever be the same again. It takes time to rebuild trust.
Yes, trust is very fragile. But the next day, Sarah goes to Emma's apartment. She brings a small box of Emma's favorite chocolate chip cookies as a peace offering.
A peace offering. That is a great idiom. A peace offering is a small gift or gesture that you give to someone to show that you want to be friendly again after an argument or a mistake. It is like saying, "I hope we are still friends."
Yes, and who can say no to cookies? When Emma opens the door, Sarah immediately says, "I brought these for you, and again, I am so sorry about yesterday."
Emma smiles, takes the cookies, and invites Sarah inside. They sit on the couch with the laptop. Together, they search for the camera. Fortunately, they find the exact same model, and it is even on sale.
That is a stroke of luck. Sarah immediately enters her credit card information and purchases the camera. She has it shipped directly to Emma's address.
This action speaks louder than words. In English, we often say, actions speak louder than words. This means that what you do is much more important than what you say. Sarah didn't just say she was sorry, she took action to fix the problem.
That is a beautiful proverb, Alex, and it is so true. By paying for the camera immediately, Sarah proved that she valued Emma's friendship far more than the money.
After the purchase is complete, they both let out a sigh of relief. The tension in the room completely melts away. They start eating the cookies and talking about other things, laughing just like they used to.
Their friendship actually became stronger because of this incident. It showed them that they can handle difficult situations honestly and calmly without ruining their bond.
This is a key point for our listeners. Mistakes happen. We are all human. We drop things, we lose things, we forget things. But the way we handle those mistakes defines our relationships. If we hide the truth, we break trust. If we admit it and try to make things right, we can actually build stronger connections.
Perfectly said, Alex. Now, let's review some of the key phrases we learned today for breaking bad news gently and apologizing sincerely.
First, when you have to break bad news, you can start with a warning phrase to prepare the other person. For example, I am so sorry, but I have some bad news. Or, I don't know how to tell you this, but...
And when you are explaining what happened, be direct and take full responsibility. Don't make excuses. You can say, it was completely my fault, or I was careless and I feel terrible about it.
Then always offer a solution to make things right. You can ask, how can I make this up to you? Or say, I would love to replace it for you. Or let me pay for the repairs.
And if you are on the receiving end of the bad news, try to remain calm. You can express your disappointment honestly, but acknowledge their honesty. You can say, I am really upset about this, but thank you for telling me the truth.
These phrases are so helpful for navigating tough conversations. They keep the communication polite, respectful, and focused on finding a solution rather than assigning blame.
I really love those phrases, Alex. They make a difficult situation feel a lot more manageable. When you have the right words, your anxiety goes down because you know what to say next. It takes away that fear of the unknown.
Exactly. And that brings us to the next important step in our story, resolving the conflict. Let's look at how Sam and Leo actually fixed the problem, because saying, I'm sorry, is just the first step. The next step is taking action to rebuild trust.
Yes, action is so much louder than words. In our story, right after Sam apologized and explained what happened to the camera, he didn't just stand there waiting for Leo to say it was okay. He immediately offered some concrete solutions. Let's listen to how that sounded.
Right. Sam said, Leo, I know how much this camera means to you. I want to make this right. I can do two things. First, I can take it to the professional repair shop downtown tomorrow morning and pay for the repairs myself. Or, if they cannot fix it, I will buy you a brand new camera of the exact same model. What do you think?
That is a perfect example of offering compensation. Compensation is a slightly bigger word, but it just means giving something to make up for a loss or damage. In this case, Sam offered to pay for repairs or buy a new camera.
Yes, compensation is a very useful word. And did you notice how Sam gave Leo choices? He didn't just decide what to do on his own. He asked, what do you think? This gives the other person some control over the situation, which is very respectful when you have damaged their property.
That's a great point, Alex. Giving the other person a choice helps them feel respected. Now, how did Leo respond to those options? He was still sad about the camera, of course, but he appreciated Sam's honesty and his quick offer to help.
Leo said, thank you, Sam. I appreciate that you want to fix it. Let's take it to the repair shop first. If they can fix the lens, that would be great. If not, we can talk about a replacement. Let's go together tomorrow.
That is such a mature way to handle it. Leo didn't get angry or shout. He accepted the offer to go to the repair shop together. This brings us to another great phrase, to make things right, or to make up for it.
Let's look at how we can use these in everyday life.
Yes, to make up for something means to do something good to balance out a mistake or a bad situation. For example, if you miss your friend's birthday party, you might say, "I'm so sorry I couldn't come to your party. Let me buy you dinner next week to make up for it."
That's a perfect example. Or if you accidentally spill water on your colleague's notebook, you could say, "I am so sorry. Let me buy you a new notebook to make up for my mess."
Exactly. It shows you want to restore the balance in the relationship. Now, let's talk about rebuilding trust. Trust is like a glass vase. Once it breaks, you can glue it back together, but it takes time and care to make it strong again.
That is a beautiful picture, Alex. Rebuilding trust doesn't happen in 5 minutes. In our story, Sam didn't just stop after they went to the repair shop. He followed through with his promise. He went with Leo, paid for the repairs, and checked in with Leo a few days later to make sure the camera was working perfectly.
That following through is the key. To follow through means to complete an action that you promised you would do. If you say you will do something, you must do it. That is how you show you are reliable and that you truly care about the friendship.
Absolutely. If Sam had promised to pay for the repairs but then made excuses or delayed the payment, Leo would have lost trust in him completely. But because Sam followed through immediately, their friendship actually became stronger.
It really did. Sometimes going through a difficult situation together and resolving it honestly can make a friendship much deeper because you know you can count on each other even when things go wrong.
Yes, that is so true. So let's quickly review the vocabulary we learned for resolving conflicts. First, we have compensation, or to compensate, which means to pay for or replace something that was lost or damaged.
Second, we have to make up for something, which means to do a good action to balance out a mistake. For example, I will make up for my mistake by helping you clean the garage.
Third, we have to follow through, which means to actually do what you promised to do. For example, he said he would help me move, and he followed through.
And finally, rebuilding trust, which is the slow process of proving you are reliable and honest after a mistake.
These are such valuable life skills, and they are also fantastic English phrases to know. We hope today's episode gives you the confidence to handle these tricky situations if they ever happen to you.
Yes, remember, everyone makes mistakes. It is not about being perfect, but about how we handle our mistakes with honesty, kindness, and responsibility. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Easy English Podcast. We love sharing these stories and language tips with you. Until next time, keep practicing your English, be kind to your friends, and take care of those borrowed items.